Why do churches plant other churches instead of becoming one giant so-called mega church?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some do just become.
Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, and some people just do want to do that, right? They want to. Now, I think there's a few different things going on. Some churches do want to become just that big, huge mega church, right? Okay. I think with the rise of like the satellite campuses in particular, I think a lot of it is we want to have a larger influence across. I think it generally starts out like in our region, like they'll have satellites, like around the metropolitan region of wherever they are, right?
Right.
Like, so if you're in a big city, then you're going to start finding places for satellite campuses in all the suburbs around that city, right? Like that's kind of the way it goes. And then the next thing you know, you're starting to spread out to a larger region. And then, now you're on the East Coast, but you've got satellite branches on the West Coast, kind of thing. And so I think it begins to go that, and it's all about the idea of influence. I think they would say, right? We want to have influence in all these areas.
That's what they would say.
That's what they would say. We want to have influence in these areas. And so
all the ties go to one account. That's what they would say.
And but then I do feel like you've got churches that really do want to plant church because they see the need to reach a community, and so they're doing it without the the streaming in of the pastor at the main location, So every church has got its, they become locally autonomous, in other words, in the sense of like, we're part of this broader network of churches connected to the one main church, but we've got our own pastor. He's preaching, his own messages on Sunday morning, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think that's when a church becomes way more effective, because what I'm going to preach at our little church in our side of Coweta County is oftentimes would probably be a very different message than if I was preaching somewhere else. Not that I wouldn't use the same biblical text, but my examples and my connection points, and even sometimes the way that I speak or communicate would be different. I mean, even in our own county, the way that I preached at our former church is different than the way I preach now, based upon the environments and the and those that are present within the churches.
Okay.
All that comes into play. So my point just being is, I think that's when you're most effective. Because your pastor, you get to know your pastor through the way they feed and teach. That's how you get to know your pastor a lot of times.
Right.
And so I just find it odd to be at a church. Yeah, I've got a campus pastor, but I never actually hear that pastor preach, or maybe I hear him preach once or twice a year when he goes up to the main church,
right,
to preach from there. Like, that's odd to me. And so, but that's a philosophical difference I have, and even a theological difference with, I would disagree with the ecclesiology of it. Okay. And so, but
I know what that means.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Theology of church.
I don't.
Okay. Theology of church.
Now I do.
There you go. Ecclesiology, theology of church. And so, but so I think that the churches that decide, hey, we're going to plant a church, and sometimes churches do want to get to a certain number before they do. They feel like they've got to be at 400, 500, 1,000, whatever it may be, for them to feel like they've got the financial stability to be able to send out another church and financially back them enough.
Okay.
And I do agree. I think being honest, you probably got to at least be over the 200 mark. Often, if you're going to plant,
right,
if you're going to plant a traditional church and give them the financial backing they need to start.
Is this 200 like people, or is this 200 paying members?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say 200 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and so I think you have to have that to do it the traditional, like that kind of traditional way,
Okay.
But anyway. Yeah, but then I have another thought, and it's not just me. There's other thoughts of how to plant churches without you having to have that many people to financially back it, and without it having to look like the traditional church planting model has made it look.